This recipe brings back so many memories from a trip I made to Monodendri outside of Yanina in northwestern Greece, in Epirus, many, many years ago, to a very famous taverna called Kikitsas. This place was known for a feta cheese flatbread made in a frying pan called tiranopita. So I'm recreating it here today. So let's get started. It's a very easy dish to make. I've got my flour measured out here, just all-purpose flour, some baking powder, and a little bit of salt. Basically mix the dry ingredients together, make a well. I've got warm water here, and a little bit of extra virgin Greek olive oil. And I'm gonna get that kneaded. We want the dough to be malleable and pliant. This dough is unctuous because of the olive oil. It's very soft. It's got a beautiful, silky feel to it. That's exactly what we want. It needs to be kneaded for a few more minutes, and I'm just gonna do that on the cutting board. It's a little bit easier. Let me just flour up my board a little bit. Epirus is a place where savory pies are a really big part of the local tradition. And in fact, most of the bread bakers actually are from Epirus. The guy here in my neighborhood is from Epirus and makes really good bread and really good pies. This is pretty much done. I'm gonna get 2 pies out of this. Break that in half. So what we wanna do now is roll this out a little bit. You want to roll a circle, just about the size of the inner circumference of the pan. This was something I used to make for my kids often. It was kind of a quick and easy after-school meal. We want to take a little bit of feta. It's crumbled, but it's in pretty large pieces. And what I like to do is I basically just kind of get that into a crescent. You press this down, and then you roll it out again. I'm gonna try to make it round, because it just looks a little bit nicer. Don't worry about it if it's not perfect. Okay, I'm gonna get going on the other one. There are all sorts of treats like this all over Greece. In traditional communities where bread was baked, maybe once a week, in the outdoor bread baking oven, there'd always be a little piece of dough left at the end. And the grandmother or the mother or the aunt or whoever was baking, she'd take a little bit of dough and fill it with something, feta cheese or maybe some herbs, or sometimes fry it up and sprinkle a little bit of honey or sugar on top. I'm just gonna get the pan ready, heat it, get a little bit of olive oil in there, and when the olive oil heats up and it'll start to shimmer a little bit, we're gonna let this cook for a few minutes. You don't want the oil to be too hot. You don't wanna burn the outside of the dough and not give it enough time to cook on the inside. So it's kind of a medium heat. You want it to cook evenly throughout. This is ready to flip. I can't resist cutting a little piece off. You can serve this any which way. You can keep them whole and serve them as individual pies. When my kids were young, these wouldn't last more than a few seconds. They'd come running into the kitchen and basically tear them apart. But I'm gonna cut a little piece off just so you can see the inside as well. So this is nice and thin. It's totally cooked through, which is exactly what we want. The feta cheese is kind of melted into the dough, and I'm gonna try some. This is a great snack. This tastes of timelessness. Bread, feta cheese, olive oil, those are three of the world's most ancient ingredients, and they've always worked well together. This is really flaky, it's crispy. I get the saltiness and a little bit of the brininess of the cheese, but it's also quite subtle because of the dough. This is just a snack for all ages, so enjoy.